Hi, I'm Peter Samuelson with Sawston Wealth Management, and welcome back to part 2 of my video series talking about the different biases of behavioral finance. Last video we talked about the confirmation bias and the disposition bias. The confirmation bias being that you only take in information that you believe and you disregard everything else. And then disposition bias being that you're more willing to admit when you're right than you are when you're wrong. And in this video, I'm going to go over the last two biases, the first being the familiarity bias. Familiarity bias has more to do with investing than anything else. It's when an investor only buys shares of companies that they know. As a result, the portfolio may not be as diverse and therefore subject to more risk. An example of this is someone who works for an oil company and only invests in oil and energy companies because that's what they know. If the industry suffers a downturn, then they could potentially lose a lot of money because they didn't branch out and diversify. The last bias I'll go over is the herd mentality bias. Herd mentality, or herd instinct, is when people join a group and follow the actions of that group. When making an investment decision, you cannot assume that other people have done their research. A great example of this that's happened recently is when everyone bought GameStop and AMC. It was a free-for-all, and everyone was buying in just because they saw other people doing it. What I'm trying to say is do your due diligence and make a decision because you are confident in the research that you've done. Don't fall victim and join in just because everyone else is doing it. So that is the final two biases in behavioral finance in the end of my series. Being aware of the things that go through your mind when you're making decisions about saving and investing could help you prevent making a costly mistake. So the next time you're making a decision around money, take a step back and think about if any of these biases are influencing your decision.